welcome to ECCB Connects, a production of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank designed to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. On this episode, we bring you ECCB in Action, a report on the bank's performance of financial year ended 31st March 2025. We sit down with Governor Timothy N.J. Antoine to go deeper into how the bank is advancing the good of the people of the currency union by maintaining monetary and financial stability under its key strategic areas. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying connected with us. What has the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank been doing behind the scenes to maintain monetary stability and ensure the soundness of the financial system? Great questions, and we have just the right person to answer these and more. Governor Antoine, welcome to the not-so-hot seat on ECCB Connects.
Thank you, Shana. Pleasure to be back.
Now, the bank has released its 2024-2025 annual report. We want to look at the progress under some of its key strategic areas. There are several of them, but let's start with a big one, financial stability. How has the bank helped to keep our financial system strong and secure this past year?
Right, so that's very important because one of the top questions on the minds of our citizens and residents is my money safe? And that's what financial stability is all about. We do something that is very important. We monitor and inspect our bank's licensees on a very regular basis. And that work is unseen by the public, but it is very significant. Very significant, because what it does is give us the ability to monitor and help the bank stay on track. So whether it is their corporate governance, their credit risk, their operational risk, their cyber risk, their climate risk, these are all things that we monitor. We issue standards and we hold them accountable. Where there are areas of deficiencies, we ask them and we hold them accountable for improvement. So that is a very important area. So our examiners are constantly in the field, inside of the banks, doing that work. But even when they're not inside the banks, they do what we call off-site monitoring to ensure that the banks are moving towards improvements where we've identified areas for improvements. So that's one. The second one that I want to mention, there are many, I just mentioned two, is the work we've been doing on setting up a citizenship by investment CBI CIP regulator. That's a very important assignment given to the bank to lead by our heads. And of course, we're doing it with commissioners from all of the 5 countries, and the legal work is being done by a very competent, very experienced legal drafting consultant in Ms. Lydia Elliott, who, by the way, was a former legal advisor to the central bank. Because 75 cents of every non-tax dollar comes from CBI or CIP, because some of our countries are very dependent on that as a source of foreign direct investment, revenue, and employment, this is a very, very important program. And it's not just in terms of financial stability, but it's also fiscal stability for many of our countries. And so, given its importance for our region, we have been spearheading work with the Interim Regulatory Commission and the community to really advance and prepare for the setup of a CBI CIP regional regulator. And the last thing I'd say on that is that the draft legal framework is now available for public comment. We issued it early July, and over the next couple of weeks, we would love for people to come in and respond. We did consult, we did say we would share the draft before it is enacted, and our expectation is that the governments, we would finalize this draft. We also are engaging our international partners, the US, the EU, the United Kingdom. And our expectation is with these partners, industry, and of course our local stakeholders, that legislation will be enacted before the end of 2025.
Now, let's look at payments modernization and financial inclusion. We have been hearing a lot about payments becoming faster and digital. Explain to us, Governor, what the bank has done this year to modernize how we move money.
A big focus for us now is the ease of opening bank accounts. We've heard myriad complaints about how difficult it is to open a bank account in our currency union. The fact that it's far easier to do that in the United States than in the Eastern Caribbean, that doesn't sit well with me, with us at the ECCB. And while we understand the imperatives of financial integrity, meaning we have to protect the financial system against financial crime, like money laundering, like terrorist financing, like fraud, but we ought not to find ourselves in a situation where innocent, ordinary, working people cannot engage with the financial institutions because these arrangements are so onerous. So what we have done, working with our banking community, the Banking Association, is to create a framework that will make it far easier for people to open bank accounts. But we've gone one step further. We're not just using moral suasion, we've actually amended the law. And I'm pleased to say that banking amendments, the amendments to the Banking Act are being made. In fact, they've already been passed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada. Other countries are passing. We expect all countries to pass it this year. And it will give us the ability to establish what we call a basic bank account, or what is called first step. That means by right, enabled by law, banks must open bank accounts for persons, entities deemed low risk. That also means instead of asking for 2 pieces of ID, we'll be asking for 1. That also means that there will be no minimum balances. Poor people can bank money. When we set minimum balances, we exclude people. We're trying to include people. It also means that that account will be interest bearing. It's very, very important. The time value of money. Whatever you put in there, you must earn interest on it. And there's some other provisions. The other thing I'll mention is that we are modernizing the legislative framework. So through the Payment System and Services Bill, we are now, which are going through the member countries for enactment, we are now allowing for fintechs and other financial providers, private sector providers, to be able to operate in the payment space and to offer services. We've also just approved, October last year, the entrance of credit unions into the automated clearinghouse. For those of you who don't know, this is how we do checks. We change checks and funds transfer in our region. It's a system that is owned jointly by the banks, some banks, and the central bank, our central bank. But it was only allowed to the banks, which we license and which we supervise. We've now changed the rules to allow credit unions access. And we expect that the first 4 credit unions will be onboarded in the next few months as a sort of pilot. So that is another way of making it more inclusive, making the financial system and our payment system more accessible.
I like the focus, inclusion for all, from the people to institutions.
That is correct. Absolutely right.
Let's move on to environmental, social, and corporate governance, another important pillar. We do not usually hear climate change and central bank in the same sentence, but not our award-winning ECCB. The bank has undertaken several projects under this pillar. Which ones stand out most?
We have several, but the one that is, of course, I think most cherished in some ways is our greening of our campus, where we invested in a solar farm, a solar capacity of 1 megawatts. It's the largest non-utility solar facility in the OECS, in the ECCU. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of the fact that that enables us to save around $1.8 million every year. We're very proud of the fact that we have lowered emissions significantly I can't even give you the number now. It's 3 point something trillion or whatever it is over the life of this program. But we've also used it as a model to demonstrate what is possible and encourage more of that sort of investment in our member countries. And there's a particular project we're working on now, which you'll hear a lot more about in the next few weeks, called the Renewable Energy Infrastructure Investment Facility, where our objective there really is to try to increase renewables in the mix, in our energy mix across our member countries. So that is one that we are extremely proud of, and as you said, it's an award-winning project. I do want to give a shout out for the work we do with our women with netball. It's part of our corporate governance, social corporate responsibility. And we have, I believe, quadrupled our investment in that tournament. And our position is one of the few tournaments that is for young women that's fully supported in the OECS. We have taken the position in the central bank that nobody should be excluded from this tournament. So you ought not to be able to have any excuse to say you don't have money for airfare, for hotel accommodation, to get there. And so as I said, we've quadrupled our investment in this tournament. It's now called the International Netball Series, formerly called the Under 23 Tournament. And we have been sponsoring that now for, I believe, 34 years this year. But we have significantly enhanced our sponsorship. We not only support the tournament, but we also provide professional development, personal development opportunities for young women. And I just want to acknowledge that as a very important program that we've been doing for a long time, and we will continue to support.
Digital and data transformation. Governor, we live in a data-driven world. The bank's tagline says, transforming the ECCU through innovation and collective action. Now, data transformation is a big part of that. How is the bank pursuing this objective?
There's a lot I can say on that, but I will say this. Given the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, we are now working on a data and AI strategy for our central bank. And that is going to be part of our strategic plan, which is we're now working on for the period 2026 to 2031. So we are going to not just embed AI in the bank. We're already using AI, but we want to make sure it's done in a very responsible way, the appropriate governance. But we will share that framework and that learning with our member countries as well, with our financial institutions as well. So that's a big focus for us now, our data and AI strategy. The other thing I'd mention is a data warehouse. AI needs data, lots of it. But we also need to make better use of data in our region for decision making, for policy making. And so one of the things we're investing in is a data warehouse to allow us to pull data, especially from the financial sector, but also from the economic sector, and to use that for analysis and for the creation of dashboards. So for example, the dashboard you see for food import bill, the dashboard you see for fuel prices in the currency union, which we publish monthly, that requires data. And we have to pull that and then create these beautiful infographics that can really tell a story and help inform policy. So that is just to give you a sample of what we're working on right now.
Organizational effectiveness and development. I'm sure you will agree that strong institutions need strong people. What steps has the bank taken behind the scenes to build a more effective organization?
We're always looking at how we could improve. We understand the criticality of ECCB to our member countries. We understand our responsibility to advance the good of the people of our currency union through maintaining monetary and financial stability and promoting growth and development. So are we fit for purpose? So we are constantly improving our corporate governance. We constantly look at our risk management frameworks, constantly. Business continuity and resilience frameworks. We constantly look at our skills. Do we have the right skills to meet the moment? And so we have invested heavily in our staff. We have recruited additional staff. We've just completed a compensation review so that we could better position the bank in the labor market. It's a very competitive labor market. as we try to attract and retain talent to be able to fulfill our core mandates. Internships, we've done a lot of internships, Bright Sparks in our IT area, but also in other areas to encourage our young people, to give them opportunities, to give them exposure to the central bank and to the modern working world, and to upskill them. So those are just some examples of what we're doing to enhance our effectiveness.
Our legislative agenda. Now, the laws that guide how the bank operates, they are just as important as the money that we manage. Tell us what progress has been made on the bank's legislative priorities.
Yeah, so this is an area of work we do a lot of legislation. We sponsor, we draft, we outsource where we can't do it in-house. A lot of legislation every year. Because the work of our currency union to facilitate that single financial space across our currency union requires enabling legislation that needs to be passed not in one country, but all 8 parliaments. That takes time. It's very heavy, challenging work, a lot of consultation involved, drafting, redrafting, but that is what we're committed to. So we right now have a legislative agenda implementation rate of about 85%. We constantly bringing on new legislation, so as members pass, other things are coming. But I'm very pleased to say that we have been getting support from our member countries. If I have one ask, it's for us to do it a little faster. And if I have one commitment, is to make sure we are consulting even more. And that's why we have colleagues right now in member countries on road shows explaining the legislation, taking feedback to make sure that we craft and draft in a way that is appropriate, respectful, but also meets the moment, this moment in time in our region where we all have to step up. So that is a very important part of the work that we do to support our member countries.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, Governor, the bank has done a lot this past year, and we get to a sweet part, the fruit of our labor, our financial results. Now, the bank has reported its highest profit ever. We can take a moment to clap for that.
We are pleased with that outcome. So, Shana, I never get too high, never get too low. This is something I say all the time. Okay? We're very pleased with the result. It's an exceptional financial performance, as you said, the best ever. So we're proud about it, as we should. And if you recall, that is on the back of a record-breaking year last year. So we did 80 million last year. This year we did 126.2 million. So we're very proud of that. And it's not just profits, but we've also increased assets. About, I believe, 355 million increase in assets, and also increase in our reserves. I think about 250 odd million in reserves. So profits up, reserve up, assets up. Very, very strong financial year.
What would you say is responsible for this financial success?
So a couple of things. One, we are enjoying exceptionally high interest rates in the lower global economy, particularly the US, where most of our reserves are invested. And so we've taken advantage of that. So that works in our favor in terms of our foreign income securities. And the other area is prudent expenditure control. We've tried to manage expenditure very well because, as we say, we don't always have full control over income, especially the markets move, but we can control expenditure. So we try very hard to manage that, which is why even the investment in the greening that we spoke about, the investment in polymer, the investment we've done in other areas of the bank have actually helped us to cut our manage our expenditure. So that combination of increased income, interest on our reserves, as well as expenditure control gave us those results.
Okay, great. Now, what happens to this profit?
About 55% of those we put in our reserves or capital. It's a very important issue. We tell our banks or licensees, you have to build strong capital buffers. That allows you to absorb losses. That allows you to absorb adverse events and remain a going concern. So we have to make sure we do the same. We tell them that we have to do the same. So about 55% of that has gone to our reserves, our general reserve, our capital. So we've strengthened the capital of the bank, which basically positions us to continue to operate in a very strong and focused way going forward, even in years when we may not make as much money, and even if we made a loss in a particular year. Capital. About 25% we've given directly back to our member governments as dividends. So obviously that helps. So the governments have received that, and obviously they're grateful for that. And then the other portion, we've put into a fund, a little pot that we call, if you look at our financial statement, it's called Fiscal Tranche 2. But for us, it's a rainy day fund. And for me, I simply think of it as a solidarity fund. So what we've done there is when we have a natural disaster, the pandemic, a volcanic eruption, those sort of shocks, we provide some liquidity support to our member governments. So that has been put in there. It's for the countries. We hold it in trust, and when the need arises, we ask them to authorize us to release. And that is how that is used. So, like I said, 55% in capital, 25% direct dividends to our member governments, and 20% in that solidarity fund.
Sounds good, Governor. Now, the work of the bank was guided by a theme: implementation, results, no excuses.
Yes.
How do you feel overall about the results?
The results are encouraging, but I will always feel we could do more. I mean, it's just how I think. And that's with due respect to the fact that we work hard in the central bank. You know that. I know that. Our staff work hard. We push the envelope, and we do a lot. And there are times people say, maybe we're doing too many things. But we've always felt we have to be ambitious because, we serve in people. We serve in the currency union. Too much is given, much is required. And like I said, what's our mission? To advance the good of the people of the currency union by maintaining monetary and financial stability and promoting growth and development. So we had a good year. We implemented many of our priorities, but there are a few things that we didn't finish, that we are now working to finish, and there are lots of things just getting started. So it has been a good year, but I'm expecting us to move even faster. And we're trying to figure out how AI might help us to be even more efficient.
Great.
And that doesn't mean cutting staff. That means moving faster with data mining, moving faster with being able to organize our data and make decisions, and just giving us a wherewithal to be able to serve more effectively and more impactfully. So, good year. And I am grateful to God, Monetary Council Board, and all of our management and staff for their very hard work and support.
Great. Now, what's the way forward? What can we expect this financial year?
More hard work. That's what we do. And
no easy enough.
No easy enough. We have to keep it going. We have some momentum, but we have to keep it going. So I spoke about the ease of opening a bank account. You're going to continue to hear us push on that. That's very important for us. Consumer financial protection. We are hearing about complaints from our citizens or residents about how financial institutions are treating them or not treating them. And rather than simply, like we always say around here, we're not cursing darkness, we're going to light a candle. We have amended the law, the same banking amendment I mentioned, to empower us to set up an Office of Financial Conduct and Inclusion, which essentially will give us the ability in law to be able to investigate and address these issues of market conduct. That's a very important one. I also want to mention our collaboration with the credit unions. We're not going to be supervising credit unions. So breaking news, ECCB will not be supervising credit unions directly, but we are going to be in partnership with the national regulators to continue to strengthen oversight of our financial institutions, including credit unions, insurance companies or insurers, money remitters, and so on. And that is through an entity called the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board. I also want to mention that we're working on deposit insurance. This is very important. Again, keeping people's money safe, financial stability. So we are now bringing legislation for deposit insurance in our region, obviously starting with our banks. But our expectation is that the credit unions will eventually become part of that as well, because many of our people You, myself included, are members of credit unions, right? So those are some of the things we are working on. Obviously, modernizing the payment system, you're going to hear a lot more about that because we really feel strongly that we have to continue to make it easier for people to do payments. So those are just a few of the examples. I spoke about the data and AI strategy, so I won't repeat. But it's an exciting menu, an exciting program ahead of us. And again, I want to thank the people of the region for their support for your central bank. We work for you. We're very honored to have that privilege, and we take it very, very seriously.
Governor Antoine, thank you very much for walking us through the very important work that the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is doing, not just for profit, but for the people of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We sprinted through. The annual report is 221 pages. So I would encourage everyone to, I commend the report to them to get the details that we couldn't cover today. But I thank you for having me. Thank you.
Have you seen the Grenada 50? The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, in collaboration with the government of Grenada, issued the Grenada $50 note in July 2024 to commemorate Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. The Grenada 50 is printed on polymer. It is the same size and includes similar security features as the current EC banknotes in circulation. This limited edition $50 banknote was issued exclusively in Grenada, but it can be used in any of the ECCB member countries. The Grenada $50 note is legal tender. This means that it can be used for any of your standard and over-the-counter business transactions.
And now for this week's financial tip.
I am Ms. George, and I teach at the Rosa Primary School in Dominica. Don't be ignorant about finances. Ask your banker questions and make him or her explain things that you don't understand. It is money. Make it work for you.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of ECCB Connects, where we brought to you ECCB in Action. Governor Timothy N.J. Antoine joined us to discuss the bank's 2024-2025 annual report and how the central bank is working to advance the good of the people of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union by maintaining monetary and financial stability and promoting growth and development. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with another program. Until then, stay informed and stay connected.